Hi, I'm Andrew Grossman, and this is In the Garden. You know, one of the great things about having a flower garden is that you can cut flowers and bring them inside. And today I'm going to show you some easy tricks for creating beautiful flower arrangements for your own home. I'm just going to cut a few more blossoms over here, and then we'll get started. Now the first arrangement I'm going to show you how to make is what in the florist trade is called either a one-sided or a three-sided arrangement. That's an arrangement that basically has a back, so it's meant to be viewed only on three sides. This is an arrangement that you would put on a credenza, in front of a mirror, something like that. It's not an arrangement that you would put on the center of a table. You need to make sure when you're doing three-sided arrangements that your vase with the water in it is heavy enough to support the weight of all the flowers leaning only in one direction, because you don't want the vase to tip over once the weight of the flowers is inside, okay? Now, I always joke that I could teach anyone how to make a flower arrangement, and one of the tricks is that you want to actually pick a vase that's smaller than you think it should be, and you want to cut your flowers shorter than you think they should be. So I'm going to start right now by working from the bottom up. And the first thing I'm going to do is put in some of these hydrangeas. Okay, these are all flowers that I've cut out of my garden, and they're all flowers that a lot of people have in their garden. So these are things you can easily find by going out into your yard. One of the things to bear in mind when you're working with any kind of a plant like a hydrangea or a lilac or forsythia that has a woody stem is that you need to actually scrape the bark off of the bottom of the stem and then split the stem up the center so that it can drink water. Otherwise, the flower will wilt very quickly. Now, I want these flowers to be quite low in the vase, so I'm going to cut this stem down quite a bit, and then I'm going to quickly peel off with a knife. This is a florist knife, but you can use any knife. I'm peeled off the bottom of the bark, and then I'm splitting the stem up the center, okay? Now what I'm doing at the bottom, and now I'm going to go to a different kind of hydrangea, is I'm basically establishing the bottom width. So the arrangement isn't going to be much wider than the stems I'm putting in now. The other thing that you're probably noticing is that I'm taking all of the leaves off of the bottom of these branches. And the reason for that is that your water will stay clearer and the flowers will last a lot longer if there are no leaves in the water. So I'm just going to quickly work my way around here. And I work so that this branch leans this way, so when I put it in, I let it lean that way. So we're just going to quickly strip off the leaves, peel the bottom off. Cut and split down the center with your knife. Be careful not to cut yourself when you're doing that. When this arrangement is finished, you won't see any flower stems, and that's part of my goal, is that I don't want to see stems, I just want to see flowers. And I also, when I'm done, don't want to see the lip of the vase. This is a great one because see how it sort of hangs forward? So I'm throwing this one in here. I'm going to take off a couple more of these leaves. So I'm almost done putting in the hydrangeas. I want to put in a few more to establish the bottom. One thing about doing flower arrangements outside is there are mosquitoes, but we'll work with that. And split, and I'm putting this in here like that. I'm bending it down, and then I always like to leave, after I've started an arrangement, I always like to leave a few stems that I haven't used yet of the hydrangeas, so that if I need something to fill in at the end, I have something. And one more. Then I'm going to double check, because one of the things that you want to make sure is that even though this is a square vase, I want my arrangement to look round, and I also want it to be relatively even, like a semicircle on both sides. So I want to make sure that it isn't a lot wider on one side than it is on another side. So I'm just going to come around here and take a look at that. Yeah, that's pretty even. And you can see that you don't see the bottom of the vase, and you also don't see any stems. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start establishing the ultimate height of this arrangement. So the first thing we've done is sort of established the circumference of the bottom, and now we're going to establish the height. And I'm going to do that using dahlias. And these are dahlias I just cut from my garden. And again, I'm going to strip off all of the lower flowers. Now, one of the great things about having put in the stems, the hydrangea stems, is that they will help hold the other stems in place. So I'm actually going to move a few of these out of my way. And here's a great one to use. So on this one, I want to make sure, obviously, that I take off any petals that are brown. I'm going to strip off the bottom leaves. I'm going to take off some of the stems, the bottom, cut, and then I'm just going to put this right in here like that. And I'm going to let this one lean back a little bit. Here's another really great one. So we're stripping off the bottom leaves. We're getting rid of anything that's brown. Now, these are flowers from my garden, and flowers from my garden are not necessarily perfect, and that's okay. They don't have to be perfect. Okay, so that is about the height of this arrangement. And I like to put in all of one kind of a flower at the same time and sort of build the arrangement that way. Okay, so I'm continuing to put in these dahlias. And again, because see, this one has a curve going to the side, I'm going to put it in going sideways, but I don't want it to go much further than what I've already established as our width. Now this one leans nicely forward, so I'm going to put this one into here and let it come forward into the arrangement that way. Now I'm noticing that, you see here, I want to pull this down a little bit, and I feel like I could use a little something there, so I'm going to take this hydrangea, which I'm always glad that I've left an extra one, so I don't have to go cut any more. And I'm going to take this hydrangea, And I'm going to put it right in the front, like that. And I'm just going to get that one to go down in there, down in there. There we go. And then I'm going to turn that. That gives us a nice full front view. So now I'm just going to add a couple more of these. I'm going to come around here. I want to put one right in here, like that, a little bit lower. Sometimes you got to force them a little bit and turn them. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do something a little bit different. This really striking plant is Hedychium. I grow this in my garden. It's not hardy. In the fall, I dig them up. It's an ornamental ginger. It's in the ginger family. And I'm going to strip off the bottom leaves. So I'm just going to cut this. Now this is something that you might think is a little unexpected, but I actually don't want this arrangement to be completely symmetrical. So I'm going to put this right in there like that. And then I'm going to take the second one, and I'm also going to put that all on one side. So that is our little unexpected highlight. And these have a really great curve this way. So when I put them in, there we go. And then I'm going to pull that back up and tuck the leaves behind. Now you can see that we really have this arrangement pretty much established in terms of our height, our width. When I'm looking at it now, I see that I would like to have a little bit more fullness over there. So I'm going to take this hydrangea, which again, I'm glad I saved it. And I'm going to stick it right into this side, right in there. We're almost done. Now is the fun part. Well, it's all fun really, but this is the part where you really start seeing it come together. Now I'm just going to put in some more of these dahlias. I'm going to come around here. You can see we have a big blank spot right there. And again, I'm sticking them down pretty low. This one wants to turn a little. So I'm actually going to use, since this one has a lean this way, I'm actually going to use this one on that side. There we go. Okay, we're going to add a couple more of these. I need something over on this side. So I'm going to put this down into here. I need it to go rather low. There we go, perfect. And another one. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to fill in this space. So basically what I'm doing is I'm establishing a structure and then I'm just filling in the spaces. Oops. I want this one to go right into here. There we go. Down it goes. Sometimes they don't want to go in, but you can force them. So now, I think this one is actually a little tall, so I'm going to push that one down a little bit. Okay. And it's getting a little flat, so now I'm going to add some that will pull it forward a little. Okay. So it's nice to have some that sort of drape down a little. And again, you don't have to worry about your flowers necessarily being evenly spaced color-wise. It's nice to sometimes have groupings that are all the same. And now I have these shorter ones, which are going to give me a real pop of color, that are going to give me a nice contrast to everything else. I'm just going to slide, make sure it's in the vase. Slide that one. Actually, I'm going to pull that one out, and I'm going to come to the front of the other one so you can see it. There we go. One of the great things about cutting flowers from your own garden is that if you need more for an arrangement, it only takes a second to run out and get a few more, which is what I've just done. I want to add, see, we're a little uneven, so I need something right in there, so I'm going to add another one of these dahlias coming sideways into here. Just check that. Okay. Then I want to add a few more of these dark burgundy ones because I think they really make this arrangement pop. Go. And now I also brought back a few of these smaller lemony ones, which I'm going to use to pull this arrangement a little bit more forward. So I'm going to come around here and I'm going to pull this down, and then I'm just going to tuck this right in there like that. There we go. And then I'm going to add another one of these down low into here. And I like these because the stem has a nice bend to it. And you want to always work with the direction your stems are going. See, that gives me a little bit more depth right in here. Come around this way. And I'm going to slide these in here like that. Now sometimes when you're working, a flower might get a little bit lost, so you can just pull it back up again. You just have to do it a little gently, but there's no problem with just moving in like that, because you don't want it to look too tight. And then I happen to find this beautiful variegated ivy that's growing up my house, and I think the color would be perfect, and I'd like to add a little tendril draping down the side of the vase over here. There we go. And another one in the same place, right over there. For a little asymmetry, I always think it's nice if an arrangement has a little asymmetry and a little drape to it. And I think I just need one more thing right there. So I'm going to run out and grab one more flower, and I'll be back in a second. So I just needed to grab a couple of more flowers. just to finish this off. And I want something right in there, draping down. So I'm going to take this one. I'm just going to wedge it, and you can see I have put a lot of flowers in this arrangement. And that is partly the trick to making a really beautiful arrangement, is using a lot more flowers than you think you need. And you know, I'm going to do something that's maybe a little unexpected. I don't like this one way up here. So instead of pulling out the whole stem, I'm just going to cut that flower off, because that makes it a little rounder looking, which is nice. And there you go. So here we have the completed arrangement. This is a one-sided arrangement. There are no flowers on the back, so this would be great on a small table with its back to a mirror or on a credenza. But the principles that I use to make this arrangement really apply to almost any arrangement, whether it's this size, a little arrangement, a full arrangement that's all the way around. You first want to establish your bottom tier. The bottom tier establishes the perimeter, how wide the arrangement is going to be. Then you want to put in your flowers that establish the height and the width. And once you have that in place, you just fill in all of the different spaces, and it's really that easy. Pretty much with a little practice, anybody can make a beautiful arrangement. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the garden.